It's Friday night, everybody. You know what that means. It's Friday night. Let's have some fun. Let's get together and play a ton.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm John.
And we're
Friday Night Games.
We want to immerse you into our love of the hobby by educating and entertaining you through our board gaming adventures. This is our second last podcast. We sincerely hope you enjoyed the content we have created over the last 2.5 years. Our content will remain on the internet if you want to binge it.
Yeah, binge it. Please support our local game stores, Brimstone Games, Tabletop Renaissance, and CG Realm, along with Area 42 Outpost. They are all fantastic stores and ship across our great nation of Canada.
Maybe.
Most of them.
All right, on today's show, we're going to talk about our crazy wild adventures at
PAX Unplugged in, where'd we go? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
2021.
Who thought we would travel?
Who thought there would be another convention?
Yeah.
But it happened.
There we go.
All right, so we're going to discuss what we played and what we didn't, who we met and who we didn't meet, and any other funny stories that happened to us while we happened to be there. That's foreshadowing.
That's about
it. That's about some foreshadowing. We got to listen to the end to hear that story, though. That's the very end. Before we get down to board game business, what did you think of PAX Unplugged, John?
You know what? It was my first time at PAX Unplugged. When I got there, I definitely felt a little overwhelmed seeing that many people in a building because, you know, here in Canada, we still can't have fun. But it was also very refreshing to see that many people in the same building.
Yeah.
I liked that, you know, the safety measures that were in place.
So just so everyone knows, you had to be masked.
Yep.
And you had to be fully vaccinated.
Correct.
So that was really good. So that it gave the illusion of safety, especially because at this point, you probably know Omicron's out there.
Yeah.
It may or may not defend against it. So
exactly.
We had an illusion of safety, which was good.
What I liked about Philadelphia too is that they've got a mask mandate going, and most places, from what I hear, wanted vaccine info to get in as well. And I like being able to go outside and see people even wearing masks outside. So I didn't feel like totally unsafe while I was there. It was cool because we went to demo. So I knew that I wasn't going to be buying a ton of games. So I went with a specific list of 2 games that I wanted to snag, and I was able to do that pretty early on Friday during the convention. But I ended up buying about 5 games and some random stuff. But I was really able to control my impulse spending habit, which was good because I was like, oh, I want that game.
Can you believe I bought nothing?
No. Yeah, I can.
I told someone at work that, and they're like, why'd you even go? You went to a board game convention, and you bought 0 things.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's pretty weird, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not normal for me, but... Well, that's not completely true. We did try to look for some... If you didn't know, listeners, I'm super into Magic now.
Right.
And John owed me some money for dinner, so he was trying to buy me some cards, but all the cards I want are too hipster, so no one had them.
Yeah, so, I mean, the 2 games that I bought, the 5 games that I bought were ones that I wanted to add to my collection, and they were like kind of, some of them are expansions to games that I really like, and I really wanted to try out that aren't available here in Canada yet. So once I heard that they were there, I kind of snagged them.
Yeah, I although I do feel like there wasn't a ton of games that we didn't have. You know, usually the conventions you go there and there's a lot of games that, you know, are brand new and you didn't see. And I really didn't feel that way this year for some reason.
That's because no one released any games this year.
Or we own the games that we already knew about.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's a very true statement. Because there is an area of PAX Unplugged that I really like. It's called The First Look. And we did play there one night, which we'll get into in a bit.
Yep.
But they have all the games that were, you know, that are new this year. And you can sit down at a table. You have to learn it yourself. You can put up a sign that says looking for help. But I don't think there was anyone there when we were playing. So it was kind of useless.
Yeah.
But you just read the rules and play it yourself. We had a really good time. So there was a ton of games there, but not everything there we really wanted to play.
Right.
Well, we did get to play one game we really wanted to play, which in that area.
Yeah.
Which was cool. Other than that, the board game library is pretty cool. Same idea, but you may or may not get the game depending on how popular it is.
Yep.
And then they're running demos around the exhibit hall the whole time, which generally, I guess it depends on the vendor. So, like, for instance, we were helping the exhibitor Mission to Planet Hexx, and Jim Fitzpatrick, who's been on the show. We love Jim. He's the best. Thank you, Jim, for letting us help you again. Like he was running demos like every 20 minutes, But I was just letting people play for an hour.
Right.
So I don't know if that's I don't think that's what he wanted, but I just kind of do whatever I want. So
Did you like the show at least?
the show.
The convention?
Yeah, I did. You know what? Of all the conventions, I think PAX Unplugged is the best convention for board games.
Yeah.
It's smaller and it's attached to a market, which is amazing. Which is an amazing market, especially the Amish food center. You can get pies and breakfast there, which is amazing. And Jim and I actually had dinner there one night too, which was fantastic.
Cool.
But yeah, everything's kind of connected and it's all indoors and it's pretty big. It's a big area, and I think it's good. Now, like comparing it to Gen Con's its own beast. It actually, well, this year it didn't, but previous years it takes up the whole football stadium.
Right.
And they actually can't have the convention at the same time as a football game because they use the stadium for that. But they cut it down a lot this year.
Yeah.
But no, that was awesome. I did like that, but I feel like PAX Unplugged just has, it feels like there's less people there. Now, I'm not just saying that because of COVID. There was less people there when I went in 2019 too than Gen Con.
Right.
So you actually can see things, you actually can buy things, and you can demo games.
Nice.
Yeah.
Seems more accessible, I guess.
Yes, that's a perfect word.
Cool.
Awesome. So do we have any tips for those who are going to attend in the future? What went well for us and what didn't go well?
If I have any tips, don't plan your flight to land at 1 o'clock in the morning on the day of the convention. And plan more than like 2 weeks out so you don't have to pay an expensive plane ticket like I did.
I have a preparation. Yeah, you paid about $400, right, for yours?
Yeah.
I paid $200. So I got my plane ticket in early October and it was $200. You got yours in
late November.
Yeah. But that I mean, you didn't know you're going to be able to go.
Right.
And I, working in the States, had reasons that I could cross. So I was going to try to cross regardless.
Right.
But not everyone has that opportunity.
Yeah. I think, too, if you want to go, I would make a plan for the vendors you want to see.
Yeah. So just as a note, Board Game Geek actually usually, I don't know if they did. I tried looking for it. They usually have a list of all the games that are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Look through that list and then see what you want to demo.
Yeah. I looked at the PAX Unplugged website, and they had a list of all the vendors and kind of what games they were going to have there. So I kind of got my wheelhouse moving for what games I wanted to snag. Mm-hmm. And then when I got, when you get there, you know where to go first. So you get the games that you want.
So was there anything that you really wanted to see?
Nothing that I really wanted to see. The only game I really wanted to purchase was the new Unmatched Battle Legends Volume 2.
And you did.
And I snagged that. And then there was a Panasaurus Games game Wild Space that I grabbed over because I don't think we can get that in Canada yet. So and I think that's. Oh, I also bought Machikoro too.
Nice.
While we were there as well. And then I heard from a fellow content creator that the new Onitama expansion was there, which I've been waiting for to come out in Canada, and I haven't seen it available, so I snagged that as well.
Okay, Friday is the least busiest day.
Yep.
So if you're going to go get games, that's actually probably the best thing to do is to line up and then try and know what you need to hit right away.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest tip. Saturday is a zoo. Even with COVID, it was very, very, very packed, and trying to get what you want. I think most things are sold out by Saturday also, if I remember correctly.
There was a lot of things sold out, yeah.
Like the super popular items were sold out, which I actually don't know what the super popular items were. I think one was a kid's game.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to get Hammer Time from Hava Games, and it was sold out. It was sold out by Sunday.
Yeah, I think most things were sold out by Sunday. Or not most things, but the most popular things were sold out by Sunday. Like, for instance, That Time You Killed Me, which is a fantastic game. It could be our game of the year. That was sold out by Sunday also.
Right. I would also think, too, something that I know we just didn't have time to do because we were demoing, but I would have liked to see what the panels were. And then I heard...
I've done the panels before.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were that great.
Yeah, it depends.
Sorry. Let me rephrase that. They're good if they're very general knowledge. So, like, for instance, if you're a game creator and you don't know anything, that's a good panel to go to.
Yeah.
But if you already know that knowledge, that's not really going to be helpful. Mm-hmm. That's what I found. They did have one cool panel where they have the best of, and in the best of, they list all their favorite games to go purchase.
Cool.
Which is pretty cool.
I also learned that there is a learn to play room where the publishers would go in and they would teach you how to play the game, but they also gave everyone who went in that room a copy of the game for free.
Oh, that's amazing. Where was that?
I'm pretty sure they gave a copy of the game for free. That's what I read online. It was in in the hall room, the rooms in the hall.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, last couple of years has been next to the Unpub room.
Yeah.
And because it's next to the Unpub room, 1 year was Root. I think 2018 was Root. And there's a lineup. Our friend, Dr. Wix was saying that there's a lineup one year because Root just came out, so there's a lineup like all the way around the corner for everyone trying to play Root. I wish we went to the pub room. That's real fun. I know you did, but I wish we hung out a lot more in there because we were demoing, right?
Yeah.
What wouldn't you do?
I don't think there'd be much that I wouldn't do. It was really nice to explore it. I feel like it's tough to say because if you're going there specifically just to purchase games, I don't think you need a 3-day pass.
No.
Because you're going to do all that in one day. I think if you're going to go to explore and connect with people and network and interact with people, 3 days is perfect. And then I guess if you want to do any of the panels, I guess there's really nothing I wouldn't do there because I didn't do everything. I guess,
so I feel like if you're a gamer and you're going to use it as a way to demo these games, like the first look area is really good to try and play some of these games by yourself so that you'll figure out if you like it or not to make the purchase.
Right.
Which we actually had that experience.
Yep.
That's one thing I would say. And then at night, actually the first look area is open at night, which is kind of neat.
Midnight, yeah.
But if it's packed, you can always go to the game library. And that's one of the biggest things I noticed that I would rather do is just play games all day long and like take advantage of the game library, take advantage of the first look, and just hang out mostly around there to try and get in the games I wouldn't normally get in. And then the exhibit hall is just very good for picking up games that you need.
Yep, cool.
Yeah, there you go. There's our tips.
Just go.
Yeah. What not to do. Don't not go.
Don't not go. Don't walk there from Canada.
Exactly. Okay, so let's get back to board game business. What did we play? What did we not play? So let's start with what we played.
Okay. So I know the games that I played. We played at the first look table. We played It's a Wonderful Kingdom, the new standalone expansion-esque game to It's a Wonderful World.
Yes, just a couple notes. It's a Wonderful World is 2 players. Or sorry, It's a Wonderful World is more than 2 players. It's a Wonderful Kingdom is 2 players.
Right.
So that's the biggest difference. The game is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've only played It's a Beautiful World once, and that was one of our game nights, and it was like really late. I was actually like falling asleep playing, so I don't think I got the full experience. It's a Wonderful Kingdom I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's something that I would personally purchase myself.
I feel because I have It's a Wonderful World, I don't need It's a Wonderful Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I think It's a Wonderful World can handle more players. But going to one of the problems with It's a Wonderful World or also It's a Wonderful Kingdom is that the game has very little interaction.
Right.
We both do a little drafting, and then at the same time we decide what we want to build, and there's basically no talking.
Yeah.
So it's a very silent game. My wife would love us playing that, actually. She probably wants to play it every week.
Can you play that game every week, please?
So we could go to bed. So she could go to bed.
Matt, I sold all your games except for this one. So this is what you're playing from now on.
Honey, that's the only one we don't talk during.
Good night.
Yeah. Have fun.
So I think one of my biggest disappointments.
Oh, this one I love. Hold on. This is a whole story right here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a very big, like I said earlier, an impulse buyer. And
I can confirm that.
I really love Dune Imperium. It's one of my favorite games of the year. And once I read that they were coming out with another game called Dune House Secrets, I was super interested in it because it's a narrative story that you're trying to solve whatever this mystery within the Dune universe. And I was like super intrigued by that. And I saw that it was at the first look table. So Matt and I went and played. We played through the prologue, and I just could not get into it.
So just so you know, this is based on a game called Detective.
Yeah.
They basically took the game Detective and rethemed it for Dune. So one of the things that was really crazy was we were trying to read the instruction booklet, and I was just not interpreting what was going on. Like, they're like, you need this, you need that. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Can you start me into the game? I have no idea how to get into this game. We even actually did it wrong. We read the wrong things first.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And then we had to like go back and redo it. We're like, oh, we just spoiled the ending of this, this whole scenario.
Yeah. The setup for the prologue wasn't very clear. I mean, it was after I looked at it.
It was clear, but it was like...
But I'm just like, okay, whatever. What I didn't like about it was, okay, so when you play board games, at least for me, it's like, let's get away from the screens, right? Like, some games have apps or whatever, and they enhance the experience for the game. But from what our experience is, you don't need, like when we played Destiny's, like you don't need the app.
Yeah, you don't need it at all.
But for this game, it was like it wasn't an app, you have to go to a website. And then you have to enter in these things, and they play this like weird video, and with like information, and I'm just like this. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in this story, right? And it's just the prologue, so like
Yeah.
I'm very confused. And I know the prologue is just there to set up kind of what the content is going to look like for the game, but I didn't feel like I wanted to play the other stories.
Yeah, so it was a lot of reading.
Right.
If you're going in and you think you're going to like play a game, no, you're going to be in a story.
Right.
And for a game like called Detective, even though that's what it's supposed to be based on, I felt like we didn't really do anything.
Right.
We were just there reading. Like I feel like you could have given me a storybook with the prologue, and I would have been just as happy. I probably would have been happier because I wouldn't have been as annoyed trying to figure out how to get the game going.
Yeah, and the problem too with the prologue was like you could do everything and still get to the same. Like there was no consequence, right? Like if you did the wrong thing, like it wasn't like it was just like, oh, that just does this anyway.
Now I don't know about further in the story. Like we only did that. And I've never played Detective, so maybe it does get that way later on. But
I hope so. I said that if I see it somewhere that I can just like maybe play through that one of the other stories, then yeah, I'll check it out again. But I'm very glad I didn't pre-order it.
Yeah, you almost did.
Yeah,
you almost did. I remember you getting really excited for it. I mean, everyone's excited for it. It's Dune.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, well,
yeah.
I don't know. It just wasn't my cup of tea.
Right.
If you really like narrative stories and like reading and like trying to figure out what's going on, then maybe you'd like that. I actually think my wife would like that.
Yeah.
Very opposite of me, right? I like the game mechanics. So I just think like it just was not my thing. I also think it was late. It was like
it was
10:30,
near the end of the
10.
Yeah,
10.
I think it was later than that.
Well, the place closed at 12, so it couldn't have been that late because we played for like an hour and a half, right? And we were tired by that point. I mean, we were out all day. So on the Friday, just as a little note, we hung out with our best bud, Alex Eston. Hey, big shout out to him, Brick on Brack Games. So we actually hung out the whole time, and we were playing a couple games, we were walking around, we're having a good conversation, just catching up. At the very end of the night, I had sake for dinner, and I was tired, and I'm like, the sushi's coming back up. I'm like, all right, we need to hurry this game along here.
Yeah, and that's why I don't drink anymore.
Sake. Well, okay. Sushi's come back up. All right. It was a bad experience. I was not having it, and therefore it sat really poorly.
So we like flipped roles a little bit at this convention.
We did?
Yeah, because I wasn't having it at PAX South.
Oh, well, you were literally falling asleep at PAX South.
That's true.
I was wide awake.
I think one of the funnest things we did was when we got together with Room 51 on Saturday night.
Yes, big shout out to them. Big shout out.
It was Room 51.
Matthew, Justin, what up?
And we played with Brothers Murph.
One of the Brothers Murph.
One of the Brothers Murph was Mike.
I think it was Mike.
Mike. And what was the other guy's name?
Well, I was playing with
Salty Dog.
Salty Dog and Salty Dog's family.
Salty Dog's family, right.
So Salty Dog is a big fan of Brothers Mirth and watches a lot of Room 51. I didn't even know who he was. Apparently he podcasts too.
Cool.
So shout out to Salty Dog and his family because I had a hilarious time with them. But
so anyway, we went to the game library and we took some games out that were good for six people.
A lot of Dixit style. I think
Yeah.
Room 51 was really digging the Dixit style that night. What was the game you played with them?
So we played Detective Club.
Okay.
So I thought that game was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. So
Describe it to me.
So you have a person who is kind of the clue giver, and they look at their cards that they have, and they choose two cards that have a similar theme, and then you think of a clue. So mine was tree. I had an owl sitting in a tree, like sewing something, and then I had like a tree made out of eyeballs. So I wrote my clue was tree. You have a bunch of notebooks, so you write the clues in all of them but one, and then you deal the notebooks out randomly to the other players. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to lay one of your clue cards down, and then everyone is going to lay one of their cards down that matches what your clue is. So there's one person who doesn't know what's going on, so they have to kind of decipher what the clue is and use their cards to be like, oh, I know what this is. But as the clue giver, you want them to blend in because you get points that way.
Okay.
And then it goes again. You lay your second card, and then everyone does the same thing. And then you have to say, my clue is tree. And then everyone has to defend why they chose those cards. And then everyone chooses who is the spy.
Gotcha.
Or whatever, right? So if the spy blends in, the clue giver and the spy get points. And there's points divvied out various ways. So I thought it was very fun. Very Dixit. very Mysterium.
Very trader mechanic.
Eh,
It's funny because there's a trader mechanic in all 3 of the games that were chosen for
there
that.
wasn't really a trader mechanic, but
Well, the spy is one against all, you know?
yeah, but it's not like they're not trying to like destroy the game or whatever, right?
Oh,
It's
okay.
they just don't know what's going on, so they have to do their best to blend in.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like artist in New York. I think it's like fake artist who goes to New York.
Yeah.
It's like an OIC game. Yeah.
Yeah. I immediately thought of the game Sacred Rights by Story Machine
Oh.
Games.
mhm.
It's very similar type thing.
Mhm.
So, would you play?
Yeah. Well, first of all, your crew was playing that a long time.
Yeah, that's the only game we played. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually got through 2 games. Well, actually 3 games, but 2 games of Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, and a game of Obscurio.
Nice.
So Deception, Murder in Hong Kong is very simple. Each player is given out basically like tools and like objects, and there's one person who is the murderer. Everyone closes their eyes, murderer opens their eyes, they point to 2 things, and then the clue givers is trying to direct the rest of the people who are not the killer to try and pick those things. It was actually really simple and really easy.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing was that it was me, Salty Dog's wife, Salty Dog's son, and then Matthew's sister. So, like, they all knew each other. I didn't know any of them. So at one point, I was actually chosen to be the murderer right away. I actually won as the murderer. No one picked me. Basically, I pointed to 2 objects, and we went through, and they couldn't really figure it out, and I was pretty good at, like, throwing off my track.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was that there's these extra cards. On the extra cards, like, describe the victim, but the clue giver kept putting down, like, these descriptions that fit me perfectly. Stranger, middle-aged, male. I'm like, oh, man, like, how are they not getting this? I'm like, even though this is supposed to be describing the victim, it's totally describing me.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, if they clued in just slightly to that, they would have picked me. But, well, they thought it was me. They just couldn't figure out what items.
I don't remember his name. But I think he's the killer.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, they probably just didn't. Well, no, I said my name a bunch of times so they could remember.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
And then the crazy part, so if you check our social media and you check John's social media specifically, so Instagram, you'll see a picture of him playing with the brothers Mirth, and Matthew's sister's standing up, and
Yeah.
I'm right behind her. There's a kid in orange at the very end of the table, so that's Salty Dog's son. He was hilarious because in the second game, Salty Dog was the killer. And so when you pick the killer, you go through a bunch of rounds. So there's like 4 rounds or something crazy. We got through. His son was the first guess on the first round and got it right away. And I'm like, are you cheating? Because they're like all the clues that were given. I'm like, there's no way you should have had these 2 things picked. Like, there's no way. There's no way. And he got it like right away. And the game ended. And we're like, well, that's good. We decided that we were going to take him gambling.
Nice.
Another funny thing was that Salty Dog's a big Dallas Cowboys fan, and I'm a Lions fan, and his son is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And his son's young, right? And he's like, you're a Lions fan? Wow, they're terrible. They've never been good. And he's like, Salty Dog's like, no, son, you got to be nice. We don't know, Matt. And I'm like, no, you're not being. You're fine. I understand.
You are correct.
You know more about football with those statements than I could ever even imagine. You must follow every game. And then me and Salty Dog bonded because the Cowboys haven't been good for a long time, so he understands more of my pain, you know.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then the second game wasn't as hilarious, but we played Obscurio, which is very similar to Mysterium Park.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a clue giver. They're on a team with you. There is a hidden traitor that you're trying to win every round to get to the exit door, but the traitor's trying to stop you. And in the same vein, the traitor sees the clues ahead of time and tries to misguide the doors you're trying to pick to help the clue giver out.
Cool.
So it was a good game. We didn't get through it, but it's I would describe it like Mysterium. So there's pictures. You use these magnetic things to choose hints that kind of like, and then every door has a picture. So technically, you're trying to match the picture to the main thing the clue giver is showing you, and that's how you choose the exit. And it's a similar vein, right? Is it colors? Is it objects? Is it patterns? That's how you get out. It felt like the same setup too.
Yeah.
If you fail a round, it's kind of neat because they add little extra elements. So like maybe the clue giving thing has like a distraction on it or something, or you have to everyone has to choose the same door. Little things like that.
Cool.
Which is pretty neat. So we had a great time. Loved it.
Yeah, we closed the game library out.
We did. Yeah, they're yelling.
I felt like I felt like a teen again closing out the bar last call, right?
I mean, it doesn't really close that late though.
Yeah.
Close at like 12. But...
Oh, that's like 4 hours past my bedtime.
Oh. Still up.
Yeah, and then obviously we played a lot of Mission to Planet Hexx. Actually,
You played 0.
I played 2 games.
Okay.
Yeah, I was more of the go-to person to give a quick description of the game, and then I was like, these are where the demos are happening.
One of the cool things is that if you get a group of 3 or 4, set them up and help them, and then you're just the rules person for the rest of it. So
Yep.
you can just stand around. And one of the best things is when I got a game of 4 going, people would always come by and ask me questions about the game, and I'd give them a quick rundown, kind of like what you did.
So that's what I like, because if you go back a lot of episodes, we talk about mental health. I've been really dealing with like anxiety a lot this year, so I was actually pretty like overwhelmed to like sit and demo with people. So I really liked my setup that I had where I was just at the table and they're like, "Hey, can you tell me about this game?" And I would just like quickly run down Mission to Planet Hexx, and I was like, "If you want to demo it, there's demos here." But a lot of people were just like, "I'll just buy it."
Right.
So we ended up selling a ton of games that way.
Oh, it was cheap enough to buy.
Yeah.
You're not really wasting your money on it.
So and then on Friday we played.
By the way, Jim, this is for Jim.
Yeah.
Everyone, I was thinking about it once we got back, and everyone who played it liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't have a single group not like it.
Nice.
And Jim will hate me for saying this. I think it's a great game, 3 to 4 players, and I sold it like that, and everyone who played it 3 to 4 players loved it.
Awesome. And then with Alex, we played the Street Fighter deck building game by Cryptozoic, which uses the Cerberus system.
So it's just normal. Deck
Normal.
builder. I like that though, because it's just kind of like there's not a ton of like, oh, I gotta learn a million rules. You just sit down and play it, you know.
I wish we got to finish that game because I was actually really enjoying it.
Yeah, we were actually having a pretty good game of it.
But we had to go. We had a meeting with Danny at Panasaurus. We had to go.
Which we'll talk about in a second.
And then on Saturday, we took a break from demoing Matt and I about an hour, 2 hours, something like that. And we met Alex at the game library again, and we played a game that he wanted to play called Black Hat,
which was the worst game I've ever played. No offense to Alex, he was doing it for his own research.
Yeah, it was basically with like asshole or janitor, and you're supposed to be hackers or something.
Yeah, you're like, as you play the game janitor, you're moving through a bunch of rooms to score points, and the person who scores the highest points at the end wins.
Nice.
Anyway, so Black Hat was terrible. It was the worst game we've ever played.
Yeah.
Well, not the worst game I've ever played. I'm sure it has it's good for some people, but I did not like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
And Alex didn't like it either.
There was just like
We're
weird
putting words in his
rules.
mouth.
There's a card called the Black Hat that basically allows you. So basically, you're trying to play tricks, and you want to get the highest one. This one allows you to reverse it, but it doesn't say to get rid of the card when at the end of the round. So it's like, oh, I still have this card, so I'm just gonna keep doing this. And then I scored like 36 points on like the first round.
It literally tells you to pick the card and put it back in your hand. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's just an overpowered card.
Yeah, I know it's supposed to be like that, but at the same time, it just kind of ruined the game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and at the end of the round, it's like, what do we do with this? I feel like someone else should have it because it's
Right.
pretty powerful when you have it.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
Well.
And then I don't think there was a list of games that like we had to play.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think like there's games we obviously didn't play. The only thing I can really think of that I would like to try is maybe the new Micro Macro.
But we're gonna buy that. That's not even like, you don't need to try it. We're just gonna buy it, right?
And then I saw like the new Welcome to the Moon.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'd be interested to try, but I mean, I'm like, I'm not gonna lose sleep if I don't.
Those were at the first looks. They were all actually, people were playing them the whole time.
Yeah.
Like no one let up on it.
Yeah, there's no game that I was like, I have to play this weekend, or my life's not complete. So
Was there any previews or hot games?
any preview that we got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there anything that we saw that was a preview or a hot game that people were interested in?
Yeah, so we met Danny from Panasaurus Games, which was amazing to finally meet her because, we've been interacting over the past 2 years, and, Panasaurus has been a huge supporter of us and our podcast and content. So it was really nice to talk to her, and she was gracious enough to show us their new game that's coming out. What did they say, April?
Yes, tentatively, depending on all the shipping situations.
Yeah. But their new game is called Skull Canyon Ski Fest, and it was kind of like they were saying it was a blend of. She was saying it was a blend of a bunch, kind of like different games. So it was like Parks, Ticket to Ride.
I could describe it pretty quickly. You go up a ski slope and you go down a ski slope, and at the end of it, you move your character to the different areas, and you get points based on the runs you take.
Yeah.
That's the general idea, and the Yeti gets to be moved around the board to mess people over.
Yeah.
That's the general idea of the whole game, but we didn't play it. We just got to hear about it. I wish we did play it because, I love playing games.
Yeah.
but definitely put it on your radar. It looked fun. It looked simple. The marketing is 100% there. Although I did tell Danny that everyone should be able to draw the Yeti on.
And you can.
You can.
Yes.
She said one side will have the Yeti and one won't, so nothing stops you from taking a black marker.
Yeah.
But I suggested that we should keep the stick Yeti on there.
Yeah, so Danny, they only had like the 3D cutout plastic resin pieces with no artwork. So Danny went in and drew, put the colors on the skiers and then drew a stick Yeti. And everyone was kind of like, is that because the board is like final artwork, kind of, but like the other components weren't, and they're like, that's the artwork. So she had to put its prototype on the box. But I was like, I think that should be the official artwork anyway. It's fine.
It was pretty hilarious.
It was funny, but it actually looks super interesting. I don't think we had enough time to play because we were the last meeting at like 5:45, and the expo all closed at 6.
Right. Plus, she was doing meetings every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone got to play. They just got to see.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how that works, but
yeah, it looks super interesting, and I like how it's got kind of different mechanisms in the game, and it seems pretty thinky, but like in a fun way.
I did find it funny when we got up there, and she was describing it to us as like, it's like this system and this system and this game and this game. So I actually had a group demo one of the games with me, one of the Mission to Planet Hexx games, and they were saying, so the biggest game was Bitoku.
Yes.
Like everyone was talking about it, and they said they tried to play it, and they're like, we went to the booth, and the guy's like, it's a mashup of Ticket to Ride and Catan and like all these classic games. They're like, why are you making a game that's just all these pieces come from every other game, And I told them like it's because that's how everyone makes a board game. You just take the fun things you like and mash it together.
Yeah. Eventually,
Combinatorics will tell you that there will be no more board games at some point, but.
Awesome.
Anyways, it was a really cool game to see. I will buy it for sure once it comes out. That's probably the only thing I was super excited about. Everything else.
Bitoku?
No, not
or
Bitoku.
Skull Canyon.
Skull Canyon.
Okay.
Yeah. Bitoku I wasn't excited about. It looked too complicated for me. For like the short time we had, it looked like there's no way I'd be able to learn it.
Cool. And I think another cool thing that happened there was the Charity Board Gamer really wanted to get all the content creators together.
Oh, man. Hold on. Let's press pause for a second here. It's funny how you're like, this is really cool. Because for me, this was like super anxiety.
Well, for me, like I had three purposes to go to this convention.
Mm-hmm.
Demo, Mission Planet Hexx, buy the 2 games I wanted, and I wanted to meet people that we've been interacting with over the last 2 years. So this was the kind of like the one spot where like everyone would be together, and I can just say, hey, what's going on? I'm John. Nice to finally meet you. Charity Board Gamer set up with the Czech Games Edition, and they had their own space in their own room, so we were able to play, and we were able to get together in their demo section. So it was really cool. We got to meet a ton of people. So we finally got to meet Room 51, Professor Meg. We talked to James and Derek from Skybound Games. I met Grant Lyon, Ross Thompson, who used to work for the Op, Paula Deming, the parents from Kidsplaining, Our Family Plays Games, and Fantasy and some Flights.
Right. So I have a question for you. When you go to a meet and greet, how do you interact with people? Let's put it this way. I am not a meet and greet type person. So describe to me how you're supposed to go to this event and like interact with people around you.
So
this might be good for anyone listening too.
Yeah. For me, it's just like, hey, what's going on? I'm John from Friday Night Games. And then just it's a good way to network.
How does networking work?
I mean,
help me out here. Help me out.
You just kind of exchange info. Be like, hey, make sure you follow. Like everyone sort of like follows each other or whatever. And people were playing games together. But for me, the room was very small, and there's a lot of us in there.
Right. It was hot.
And it was
actually
very
super hot.
And it was also like 70 degrees in Philadelphia when we were there that day. So like I was wearing like thick jeans because I was dressed for winter weather. It was very hot in there. So I eventually left the room and was out in the hallway, and then we were talking to Room 51 like, hey, let's go play some games.
Okay, so while that was happening, right, I basically had like a panic attack. Like, listen to it this way. You're like, I'm trying to ask you how you handle it, because I don't know how to handle anything like that, right?
Well, you got to think too, we haven't seen people in 2 years.
No. This goes beyond seeing people in 2 years. For me, like, I am a very much like, hey, I want to have some sort of funny conversation. I want to probe things out of you, like get like information. I want to see what your personality is. I actually interact basically like I can see your mannerisms. I understand how you are based on how you respond, your eye contact, your body movement, things like that. So imagine putting me in a room of 100 people. I'm like overloaded, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. Plus it's hot. Plus like you're more of like, not to say like you're a popular kid, but you're more of a person who knows how to like interact, right, on a quick
Right.
short level, right? You're saying you're going up to people and you're like, "Hey, I'm John, Friday Night Games. Just want to say hello. I appreciate you." Your conversation might end very shortly after that.
And they did.
Yeah, me, it wasn't like that, right? Me, I'm like, "Hi, I'm Matt. Hey, how was your convention?" And they're just like looking at me like, "This is a meet and greet, dude. Like, shut up." And I'm just like I'm like a back of the class kid, man. I'm like, I'm the kid at the back, cracking jokes, laughing, observing everybody, looking at all the people, being like, "Wow, this is weird. You guys
Sorry
are all
for
weird."
torturing you.
You really like. It wasn't that you tortured me, but at one point I'm like, "It's so hot in here." Although I did have a very good conversation with Fantasy and Some Flights, who are very cool, and they even invite us to do a show with them eventually too,
Cool.
which I thought was awesome. Very nice. But I was just like, but that was like me and him had a very good conversation. And I had a very good conversation with someone else who I forget, the people who made the game about walking a dog in New York.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember their names, though.
Oh, we got to look that up because that game actually sounds fun.
Yeah, well, it was funny. Like you kind of like did your meet and greet thing. I was like having a deep conversation. I'm like, well, what's the game about? They start describing the game to me. I'm like, no. What's it like to walk a dog in New York? Like that's the stuff I want to know about, right?
Yeah.
They laugh just like that. They're like, oh, this guy's weird.
Yeah.
So anyways, at one point I must have had like a panic attack or anxiety attack. So I walked out. It's right around when the fire tower people came in.
Yeah.
So Grace, Mike, Sam, and Gwen, they all came in, and I'm like, fire tower, yeah. Oh man, bail me out of here. But I lost them. And
Yeah,
then
they walked in, walked right out.
Oh yeah, because they said it was super hot the next day,
Yeah.
which I totally understand. So I actually found them, and they were all playing games, so I didn't really want to interrupt. Right? They were kind of doing their thing in the pub room.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, I'm like, okay, I feel better. And as I walked out, and I saw our favorite people in the whole world, room 51. So Matthew was out there, and I'm like, I know Matthew also doesn't like social interactions. I shouldn't say that Matthew doesn't like social interactions, but Matthew is very much like me. Like, just, this is sensory overload. This isn't my thing. I need to get out of here. So it was great because that was a breakaway right there, right? We broke away with them to go play games.
Right. And that was fun.
And I'm a weirdo. I guess that's really the moral of the story. I don't handle social interactions very well.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's not your fault. It was. I'm glad you got to do that because you have done a very good job with Instagram over the years, and you deserve to meet those people and say hello.
Yeah, and I think I was trying to run into people. It was good because you're trying to run into people on the floor, and it's impossible
Yeah.
to
Have any conversation, basically.
not that, but just even find people.
Okay.
Right. So there was a couple people that that I've interacted on Instagram for a while, and I was like looking out for them on the floor or while we were demoing. I just didn't see them. So for example, like Gnarly Carly, we've been playing like Blood on the Clock Tower together a couple times this year, and we've been interacting for a long time. And I just happened, it was like on Sunday, like right before we left, I just happened to turn around and she was standing at the Mantis Falls booth.
How convenient, right next to where we were demoing.
Exactly. So I just turned around, I'm like Carly? She's like, John? And I was like, so we talked for 10 minutes, and so it was really nice. And then the same thing with meeting Grant Lyon. I saw him walk in on Saturday morning because we were in like the first row. So I talked to him for a bit, and then he let me know what games that he bought.
Nice.
I was like, oh crap, the Untitled expansion, I need to go snag that because he said there wasn't many copies left. So I ran over and I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom, Jim. I come back with a game. He just starts laughing.
You're like, sure you did. I didn't
So-
know the bathroom selling hustle in Oitama.
Yeah, it was really awesome to meet everybody that we've interacted with. So if you're listening, just know that we appreciate you and all the content.
Drop us a comment too, just so we can appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, and then we met the guys from Covray Studios as well.
Yes, we met Covray very briefly though. They were very busy.
Yeah.
They were like game to game to game to game. So I understand they had a mission they were on. Even Our Family Plays Games, they seemed like they were on a mission to see very specific things, which makes sense.
So yeah, so we appreciate everyone who produces content for the board game community. Oh, and we also met Sarah Shaw from Board Games in a Minute, and I had a great conversation with her.
We did, yeah.
So it was very nice to speak with her as well. So So we met kind of all the content creators that we've been interacting with, which was amazing. I think there's just one person that we didn't get a chance to connect with. That's McKay, the board critic on Instagram, who has a game on Kickstarter right now, and I wanted to talk to him about the game because he had a demo there that I was going to try to play as well, but we just didn't run into each other. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you had fun. I know you really love the social interactions. So now you understand in 2019 when I had to do those social interactions, it was hard.
Yeah.
Very hard for me, but I did it for you, so
thank you.
You're welcome. On a funny note, after we played with like Room 51 and we were walking out, you met Grant again.
Oh yeah.
And you two had like this like bro crush. Like you two were inseparable walking out. In fact, you didn't even realize that like Room 51 was heading in a totally different direction. So like I actually like gave them all hugs. I'm like, it was very nice seeing you, all of you. And then at one point I turned around, I'm like, is John leaving without me? Like you're like, 90 feet ahead of me. I'm just turned around and made like the saddest face. At Room 51, they're all like in unison. Oh, it's actually hilarious. Obviously, I did that to ham it up because I'm nuts. But
yeah, we were just talking about traveling back home.
Yeah,
and he was going to watch his dad and then like
do
the
his thing.
pickleball competition.
But those are the things I really like when you interact with people and you really get to know them as normal people outside of content creating. I think that means to me that means more than a quick meet and greet.
Yeah,
which is why the meet and greet gave me so much anxiety, I think.
Yeah, cool.
But anyways, yeah. So what other funny stories happened to us?
what doesn't happen to us at conventions?
I feel like if we're with Jim, anything can happen.
Yeah. So let's start with you because I actually no. I'm gonna start with me. When I parked at the airport, I didn't park in the long term parking. I parked in short term. I was like, I don't know if my car's gonna be there when I get back. But it was, and my parking was like $12 a day more expensive with exchange. It was like very expensive to park.
$200.
Yeah, and I was like, ugh.
Something. Yeah.
So at least my car was there.
Yeah, actually, speaking of parking, when I left the parking garage, I totally went a different route.
Me too.
Which took me outside the airport.
Yeah.
I had to drive all the way around. But you probably had data. Did you have data?
Oh, I have GPS on my car.
I didn't have GPS, so I was like trying to navigate my way back to the highway. I did
the exact same road.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that was so.
You go right by the airport again. I'm like,
yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, I actually was like, well, if I'm lost, I'll just try and head back there.
Yeah.
To try and get back there, and then I could figure out my way from there. But it was just like so confusing. I'm like, where am I? I don't know.
Yeah, because there's a spot that like clearly exits to a highway.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to go straight.
Yeah.
And
we didn't.
It
was also like in the middle of the night too, so 11 o'clock at night, we have no idea where we're going.
But you broke your phone.
Yeah, I actually. So first of all, we're sorry if we offend anyone right now. Very Canadian of us. COVID is very, very serious here in Canada.
Yeah.
So going to the States was very strange.
Right.
Getting on a plane that was packed was very strange to me. And so my wife bought me a mask, and she's like, "Here, take this," but I had a filter on it. So when I got on the plane, they basically I've never seen anyone I felt like I was a criminal. Everyone's like, "What are you doing with that mask? Get that mask off!" Because I guess apparently the filter masks, it prevents me from getting germs in, but all my germs are released into the air.
Right.
So it's not a mask you're supposed to wear. And I didn't know that all I had to do was put a mask, like a surgical mask, over my mask, and I would have been fine. I had no idea, but they just told me to take it off. So I'm like, okay, I'll do whatever you say. I want to get on this flight. I want to go to Philly, so I'm gonna do whatever you say.
Yeah.
And then it was just one thing after another. Then, luckily, my wife gave me $10 to take the SEPTA to downtown Philly because it wouldn't accept my credit card. I'm like, man, what type of luck am I having today? Then I get to the convention center, and there's two entrances. There's one at the very west side of it, and then there's one over the market. So I went to the one on the very west side. That's where I entered in 2019. And so I'm waiting there, and the lady's like, well, you need to wait for someone to let you in. You don't have a badge, you don't have anything. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I'm waiting there. Well, first of all, I'm not getting any reception. And eventually I move to the window, I get reception. I'm like, oh, okay, I got reception. I drop my phone. I've had this phone for 8 years. 8 years. And I've dropped it 100 times.
Yeah.
No problems. Well, this time decides to break into a million pieces on the floor. And I'm like, come on. Why is this happening to me? Anyways, long story short, I have a new phone.
Still no data, though.
No. I turned the Wi-Fi on now. So
perfect.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, I mean nothing like crazy happened. We had some really good sushi. That restaurant was really good.
Sushi restaurant was really good. I want a big shout out to Night Moves Cafe. We
Yeah.
were demoing at Night Moves. I was specifically demoing at the Night Moves Cafe booth, but Jim and I went there for dinner, and they have an amazing menu.
Cool.
So I had a milkshake, and Jim had a brownie, and it's all vegan and vegetarian. It was fantastic.
Awesome.
Highly recommend if you're in Philly, go there.
But on Saturday night, we met up with Zach, who is friends with Jim and helped demo. And Zach, hasn't seen anybody in 2 years, right? So he was trying to get all the group of friends together in one spot, but it wasn't timed well. So we went to this brewery, and we had a table. Was it 5 of us?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it was going to be a table of 9. So he went up to the hostess and was like, "Hey, my group's expanding to 9. What can we do?" And the host was like, "Yeah, we'll find you another table." But like they came in and they were trying to sit down with us at our current table, and they're like, "You can't sit here." And it was a big mess. And then our waitress went over to the hostess like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, we're moving to another table or something." And then I'm watching.
No. The waitress came to us, and I said, "Hey, I thought it would make sense to let her know."
Yeah.
Because she wanted us to order food, and we're like, "Well, this other group's waiting for us, right?" And I'm like, "Hey, I just want you to know we're supposed to be waiting for a bigger table, our 2 groups, because the Fire Tower people were standing right next to us." I'm like, "Hey, our 2 groups are going to get together. We're going to get a bigger table." And she's like, "Excuse me?"
Yeah.
And that's when she
I didn't realize you had that conversation.
Yeah.
So anyway, she walked over to the hostess, and I can see her like yelling. I was like, "She's pissed. She is pissed. She is not happy that we are screwing with her table."
No.
Right?
And it was funny because so on one side of the table is me, you, and Tim, one of the other demoers, and we're all just staring at her yelling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just like...
And so anyway, so she comes back, and she's so sassy with us. Like,
understandable.
I understand. Like, waitresses work for tips. We're 5 people, whatever, but, going to be generally a good tip.
She's going to lose us.
Whatever,
yeah.
right? So she's going to lose this table, right? And she's very sassy with us. So we're like, "Matt, me and you are trying to like resolve the situation and be like super nice."
Right.
And Jim was like, "I take no responsibility for what's going on."
Jim was like, "I am just a bystander. I've been working really hard today. I just want to take this time off."
And Zach, the person who caused the entire problem, disappeared. Which is funny. He went to go talk to the Fire Tower people who were upstairs, who got moved upstairs.
He didn't completely disappear, but he was... Yeah, Zach
was trying to solve it in his own way.
Yes.
Which was fine. But yeah, anyway, so we were just like, she's going to spit in our food. Like, this is what's happening, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, I hope,
Like, do you know when like people get sassy and they do like their little like hair flip and like, "Okay." And, like they're like overly nice, but in like a
jerk.
like a very rude way. I hate you guys so much right now way.
Yeah.
That's how our waitress was.
And we were trying to order like
so I ordered like an appetizer
just to like make her I guess this must be a Canadian thing because I think most people wouldn't do this, but we're like trying to make sure that she got the other people's drinks on her list too, so we would tip her for that.
Yeah.
And
I was just like, I ordered an appetizer, which I never do. I ordered dessert, which I never do. Right, and then this is the only place where I was like, "Oh, I'm going to finally have a Philly cheesesteak sandwich." But like, no one was like talking or whatever, and I just happened to check my phone, and my friend's husband had made her Philly cheesesteak sandwich for dinner.
Nice.
And I'm going to show Matt this picture.
I'm ready for it. Oh, you want me to compare it to what you ate?
Compared to what I got.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for this.
So,
I will
hold on,
describe
give me
what
one
I
second.
see. So first of all, what John's Philly steak was a really sad sandwich, but let's see what I got in front of me.
Yeah, so what I got was like a hoagie bun with, I don't know.
It just looked like you had meat on it. I didn't even see any cheese. Was there cheese on yours?
Very little. Anyway, so it was like a bun with steak. No, it wasn't even steak. It was like ground beef. It looked like.
Okay.
And a very little squirt of like nacho cheese, or because I know it's supposed to be Cheese Whiz, but it wasn't. It was like their own Cheese Whiz. And I took one bite. I'm like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my entire life. Like, why is everyone saying Philly cheesesteaks are delicious?
You didn't get the right place.
I didn't get the right place.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then I'm eating this, and then I see this that my friend's husband cooked for her here in Windsor, Ontario.
Oh man, that looks way better than yours.
Right?
Oh, this picture looks like you should just post it on Instagram stories when we release this podcast. But there's like everything looks perfect. There's like the cheese is perfectly skewed across it. The hoagie bun's like perfectly toasted, and there's like the most perfect peppers. The one John had no peppers, no cheese. It was all meat, and it was on like a French bread.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
a baguette. It was on a baguette.
Yeah.
And it looked really stiff. Yours looked really stiff when you think it should be like a little bit softer than what you ate. So
I took 1 bite, 2 bites maybe, and I was like, I can't eat this. I felt disappointed.
You know what though? The appetizers we got was good though.
Yeah.
The apple smoked cheese.
Yeah.
Though
it was butternut squash.
Oh, was it?
Cheese.
Whatever it was
dip,
was delicious.
Yeah, it was good.
That probably had spit in it though.
Probably.
Oh, and then our burgers. So Tim and I got burgers. And
Zach.
No, Tim.
Oh.
Me and Tim and I got burgers,
okay.
and it was just supposed to be like the regular house burger, but it had all this hot sauce on it. I'm like, what is this? We were so nice to you. We gave you orders. We didn't have to. Oh man, why am I being punished?
Yeah.
But the funniest thing was when we ordered dessert, and then Zach ordered the apple. Bread pudding.
Bread pudding, yeah.
He ordered bread pudding, and then he was nowhere to be seen. So we started messing with it. We tried to like carve like an eating out of it. But then at one point, Tim's like, give me that. And he like took a huge bite out of it. And then Zach comes down. He's like, I'm in front of it, so I look like I'm the guilty party. He's like, did you eat my food? I'm like, no, dude. No. He's like, you ate my food. I'm like, no, I didn't.
We're ready to go.
I don't want your food. I mean, we have a content creator meeting that we need to go to that I have so much anxiety over. I didn't eat your food, darn it. Actually, that's why I pounded back like 3 IPAs at that bar, just to get like a little bit ready for that content creator meetup.
There we go. Another fun thing is on the Sunday, I called my daughter, and she made me. I was just FaceTiming her. She made me give her a tour of the entire convention center. So I had to go up every single aisle.
So just as a note, like I watched you come up with the phone, and I'm like, what is going on here? You're just you're like, Matt, wave and say hi. And I'm like, oh, you're giving a tour.
Yeah.
But then I just thought you were doing the booth. But then I see you turn around and march off down the rest of our walkway.
Yeah. And I had to go all the way up. And then when I got to the final row, which is where the Panasaurus booth was, she recognized the logo because we played Gods Love Dinosaurs together. She's like, oh, the dinosaur booth. Go there, go there, go there. So I went over there, and then she was telling me to buy all these games. She's like, can you buy that game? Can you buy that game? Can you buy that game? And then Danny was like, he already has them. But I ended up buying you some Dinosaur World packs.
Right,
That's where I snagged Machikoro 2 as well.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks for that, by the way.
You're welcome. I owed you for dinner or breakfast or something.
Yeah, I guess technically I said earlier I didn't buy anything. I guess technically that was buying something since you owed me money or something.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Got you. You bought me water and fiber bars all weekend.
Well, let me tell everyone the real story of the show. So what we learned demoing is that one, you need water. So one of the things I did Saturday and Sunday, learning from Friday because my voice was going, I decided that I'd go to like the local CVS around the block and grab like liters of water for everybody. Although I think only me and you drank them. I don't know if Jim and Zach and Tim. Okay, that's good because we needed that. But on Saturday, I'm like, man, I'm kind of hungry and I wish we had like more snacks, right? Yeah. So on Sunday, I bought a 10-pack of Fibre One chocolate covered Fibre One bars. Fibre One chocolate covered Fibre One bars. And they were delicious, right?
Yeah, so good.
How many did you eat?
5.
I had 5 too. But the best part wasn't that we ate them. It was like what it was doing to our stomach.
Oh yeah, it was like reshaping the insides and turned a giant gas ball into our stomach.
There was so much gas in my stomach, it hurt.
Yeah.
Like I was literally like, it felt like I was like holding my abs the whole time. Like
trying not to shart your pants.
Like and it started basically when we were leaving. Like it started right when we were leaving.
Oh no, it started almost right away.
It started right away?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I had to like walk away from the booth. You know when you like walk away into like empty space, just kind of like do a little loop-de-loop
by yourself because you're
like,
crop dusting.
Fired it off.
Yeah. Crop dusting whatever's around you.
Yeah.
Oh, it started right away for you?
Oh yeah.
Mine didn't start till about 5. So like
So,
right.
no, I think it started after I had like my second or third one. Yeah.
Okay.
But I was so hungry that I just
Oh,
continued to eat
well,
them.
we didn't eat anything but those Fiber One bars, which,
Yeah.
in retrospect, maybe that was the I don't know what it was, but by 5 o'clock, I was like, my stomach was hurting so bad. I'm like, I need to like go. So I ended up in the bathroom. Here's the poopy talk. Sorry, everybody. And I just passed all this gas, but nothing else.
And then Matt and I were like farting the entire way home on the plane in the airport.
Well, in the airport, I'm like, this is getting even worse. On the plane,
well, because
you
we
like,
ate that dirty burger at the airport too, right? And like,
yeah, that burger. We were burping and farting up that burger the whole time. Well, the worst part is we're on the plane, and I'm like, I'm like trying to hold it in. Right? I'm trying to be the nicest person you could ever think of.
You look like you're sweating.
I was
And,
sweating.
like, I couldn't tell if you were sleeping or secretly dying on the
No,
inside.
I was dying. I was dying. And
I look over, you're like in agony.
yeah, and I was totally sweating. I was sweating because I was trying to stay. I was trying to stay like it's just trying to hold it in. I've had pain like this before, but this was bananas.
Yeah.
And we're on a plane, so I'm trying to. At one point in the plane, I'm like, this gas has got to go. So I just like kind of like looked around. And I'm like, you were right next to me, which is nice. Which was also
good thing I moved my seat.
which is also funny because you caused people to be double seated in some spots.
Probably. Hey, there was no one in your spot, so
Yeah,
I took
just
it.
go sit somewhere. It's a plane. It's like a bus.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I'm holding it in, and I'm like, I'm just like, I literally, John, I am not kidding you. From takeoff to landing, I pass gas every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, I'm like, this is like, I hope I bet you some of the flights like they need to clean that washroom because it smells so bad in here.
Yeah, good thing we were wearing masks.
Yeah, good thing I wasn't. Good thing that the airplane noise is so loud it drowns out the sound. Because I'm pretty sure the sound was loud too.
They probably just thought it was the engine.
I'm guessing I'm never gonna be allowed to travel in the States again after this podcast.
Matt's banned. That's funny.
Yeah, it was actually really hilarious. John is like legitimately choking up over there on laughter. So
Yeah, I think he's still farting. I got that goes. Awesome. So I think PAX Unplugged 2021, it was a success. And I had a great time. So I look forward to hopefully going next year, depending on how the state of the world.
yeah, just so everyone knows, this is our second last episode. We're done content creation as of January 1st. Although you're gonna still do the Instagram stuff, and
yeah,
I'll probably still hang around, but we're not gonna be doing any podcasting anymore.
Yeah, if we do any podcasting, it'll just be featured on What You've Been Playing Wednesdays.
Right.
With Cardboard Conjecture, and then if anyone wants us on their podcast for whatever reason,
Yeah.
do guest stuff. Like we'll I'm sure we'll still do stuff, but just this aspect of our journey is coming to an end.
Yeah, it was great. So on that note,
yeah. So next week you'll hear our retrospective episode, kind of like a recap of our 2.5 years of podcasting.
Yeah, and hopefully we can share some tips. So if you're new or you want to get into it, we have a lot of knowledge that can help you.
Cool.
Including Kevin's for hire.
Yeah, he's good price. All right. So yeah, thanks for checking us out. You can follow us on Instagram at FridayNightGames_official, Twitter at FridayNightGMS. You can check us out on our website at FridayNight.games. So yeah, see you soon.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Final episode. Peace.